Welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idle, and I touched on the Netflix has never canceled a successful show statement that they made when I did the video where the creator of Cowboy Bebop was talking about the live-action series. Check that out if you haven't. It's absolutely hilarious. But it looks like people are a little upset about that statement. That's gaslighting. Internet on Netflix CEOs claim they've never canceled a successful show. Look, I'm not exactly one to take Netflix side. I'm not a Netflix fan. Haven't been a Netflix fan for quite some time. Pretty much ever since the Cuties debacle. Everything after that's been very, very hard pressed to get me to enjoy Netflix. But I'd be willing to believe they've never canceled a successful show. I'd also be willing to believe they've had very few actually successful shows, because when you're on streaming, what defines success? Well, it's what makes you money. What makes you money? Bringing in new customers. What's the last live-action show that's brought in new customers? I mean, I can't think of one. Let's go through this article and find out. While Ted Sarandos did not make it clear how Netflix measures the success of a show, his comments sparked several strongly worded responses online from fans of canceled series and movies. Netflix Chief Executive Officer recently defended the history of TV cancellations and said that the streaming giant has never canceled a successful show. I imagine him saying it like Bill Clinton. I did not ever cancel a successful show. In an interview with Bloomberg, co-CEOs Ted Sarandos and Greg Peters opened up on streaming platforms' decision-making process. The executives were asked about the relationship with the creative community and the viewer ire after years of premature series ends. To this, Mr. Sarandos answered, "We've never canceled a successful show, and lots of these shows were well-intended but taught to a very small audience on a very big budget." I mean, that is inherently accurate. One of the earliest Netflix originals that I can think of, Marco Polo. It was the, at the time, most expensive show in, I believe, history. Like, literally the single most expensive show ever made. It was on Netflix, and it was a big deal. It's called Marco Polo. And it got canceled after its second season because the budget was enormous, at least by standards back then, and no one was really watching it. So this has been an issue with Netflix pretty much since the inception of the Netflix original. He added, "The key to it is you have to be able to talk to a small audience on a small budget and a large audience at a large budget. If you do that well, you can do that forever." While Mr. Sarandos did not make it clear how Netflix measures the success of a show, his comments sparked several strongly worded responses online from fans of canceled series and movies. Taking to Twitter, users listed names of different shows that have either been canceled or going to be removed from the streaming platform. Some even quoted Mr. Sarandos and shared GIFs and clips from popular TV shows to express this outrage. "You must be joking. Never canceled a successful show. I don't know a single person who could say you haven't canceled or something they really enjoyed," one user wrote. Okay, but that doesn't matter. Just because you really enjoyed it does not mean it was successful. This is the problem with fandom and idiots on YouTube or on Twitter or whatever. They think that just because they enjoyed something or because they liked something, that it was successful. Breaking Bad was successful. Look, I've never seen Breaking Bad, don't really have any inclination to, but Breaking Bad was successful. Everywhere you went, you could buy Breaking Bad merch. It was talked about all over the internet. It was making money. Advertisers were putting in their commercials during the Breaking Bad commercial breaks. People were, buying the products, I assume, because the show kept going. The writing stayed consistently good. Everyone loved it all the years it was on. It became a cultural phenomenon. Breaking Bad was a successful show. The Santa Clarita Diet? I don't know, was that really that successful? I think I know 2 people in my entire life that's watched that show. I will say almost everyone I know in my life currently has Netflix. So let's say I know 50 people. If 50 people have Netflix and only 2 people have ever watched the Santa Clarita Diet, is that really a successful show? Obviously that's anecdotal to my experience. There could be people out there, maybe it speaks to a certain niche, maybe it speaks to a certain genre, maybe it speaks to a certain, demographic. But the point is, just because you like something doesn't make it successful. That's where the term cult classic comes in. If something's a cult hit, it means it's got a small but dedicated following. Probably doesn't make a lot of that green stuff. Netflix, you must be joking. Never canceled a successful show. I don't know a single person who could say you haven't canceled something they really enjoyed. If the problem is small audience in comparison to budget, maybe you need smaller budgets and stop canceling everything. Netflix out there saying they never canceled a successful show. That's gaslighting, Netflix. That's gaslighting, said another. But it's not gaslighting if it is true. Now, do we know it's true? No, because Netflix has not given us any sort of figures or anything, which I think is a major problem with the streaming model. We need to see figures, just like we see Nielsen ratings. I mean, where are we at with those Rings of Power numbers, Amazon? All I'm saying is that I wouldn't call it gaslighting if we don't have information to prove or disprove either way. Echoing the same sentiment, a third user added, "Not Netflix gaslighting the entire world claiming they've never canceled a successful show. But you give me evidence that the show that you're referring to was successful. Where's the burden of proof that the show was successful? If you're going to claim Netflix is lying or you're going to claim Netflix is gaslighting, then where is your proof to back up your claim? Do you have it? I assume not. No one does, because once again, Netflix doesn't give us numbers to go off model. I'm just saying that, yeah, I get being upset that a TV show you love gets canceled. Okay, I do. It's happened to me. It's happened to everyone. Heck, sometimes movies that we love or that we're excited for get canceled. Video games get delayed. There's all sorts of things in the entertainment industry that will upset us fans and casual viewers. But coming out the gate like this, going hard and attacking Netflix for what is probably true, to me doesn't make any sense. And I hate the fact that I'm put in a position where I have to defend Netflix, because like I said at the beginning of the video, I don't like Netflix. I'm very anti-Netflix. I don't like the streaming model. I don't like cuties. I don't like the fact that Netflix has done a lot of skeevy stuff. I don't like their woke politics that they do behind closed doors on the back end. And anecdotally, I have a friend that used to work at Netflix out in Colorado, and he told me they pay like ass. Now, I don't know if it was just with the position he had, working the regular call center side of it, but Netflix didn't pay very good. $14 an hour to do call center work in Denver, Colorado, where the cost of living is through the roof. I can also say Netflix, paid him like garbage, and it was a struggle for him to get by, despite the fact that he was working for a multi-billion-dollar corporation. And this is in like 2014, 2015, like the peak of when Netflix was, great, at least in my opinion. According to the tweets of the fan favorite shows that are going to be canceled are the Babysitters Club, the OA. The OA is still going? Jeez. I watched the first few episodes of that show and it was awful, but anyway. Glow, I'm Not Okay With This, Atypical. Hey, Santa Clarita Diet! I didn't even realize that was going to be on there when I made that joke earlier. Good going, me. Pat myself on the back. And The Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance. Meanwhile, in the interview, the co-CEOs did not offer more about the specifics of the canceled series. However, they spoke about new monetization strategies, taken with an ad support tier after 2022 subscription losses. Well, look, I can't speak to very many of these. I will say, The Babysitter's Club. Well, if that's a remake, you have an audience that's already built in that you have to please if it was even marketed or advertised. The OA, like I said, saw a few episodes, thought the show was awful. Glow, never watched, but I never hear anyone talk about it. You don't hear people on Twitter talking about, oh, y'all see the new episode of Glow? Oh my god, it was insane. Like, it's not exactly taking the world by storm. I'm Not Okay With This, never even heard of it. Atypical, never even heard of it. Santa Clarita Diet, I absolutely have heard of it. Like I said, I made the jokes about it earlier, and I think my sentiment on that still stands. The Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance. Well, the original Dark Crystal kind of bombed. Wasn't exactly the most famous movie ever made. Don't get me wrong, Jim Henson's awesome. I like the Dark Crystal, it's super cool. But when you already have such a niche audience that knows the original, doing a remake, or not a remake, but a sequel series, well, you're going to have to attract more individuals than just a niche audience from a flop project from the 80s. And it's not happening. You're not doing it. It's not bringing in the individuals it needs to bring in. The way the streaming companies make money is by putting out these shows and drawing people in to start paying the monthly subscription. If you've been paying, $11.99 for Netflix for the last 5, 6, 7 years, and you've been consistently paying it, and you're just getting all these new shows, yeah, you might like them, they might be successful to you, but Netflix isn't making any money off them if they're not drawing in anyone new. And go out, ask any person, ask the next 10 people, ask the next 50 people you meet, hey, did you sign up for Netflix based on The Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance? Most of them are probably going to say, get out of my face. And the ones that don't say to get out of your face are going to ask, what's Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance? And then you have to explain, what the Dark Crystal is. And then they're going to ask, what's the Dark Crystal? Because no one even knows what the Dark Crystal was. Now, you could say this is Netflix's fault for making bad decisions on what shows to bring in, but I mean, at the end of the day, the company gave the show a chance, and it didn't draw in the viewers. I don't really see how that's Netflix's fault. And again, damn you guys for making me, defend this company. So, yeah, that's the end of that. Look, at the end of the day, Netflix is garbage. Netflix has been garbage for a long time, and I don't see why anyone's still supporting them anyway after the Cuties debacle. That being said, there are streaming services out there that are good. I mean, I love HBO Max, mainly because I like being able to pop on the Lord of the Rings trilogy or Dune anytime I want. But yeah, I'm very happy with HBO Max. Amazon Prime is fantastic, and I could not live without Futurama, so I need Hulu. But frankly, if I just had those three, I'd be happy. I'd be good. Now, I have some others for purposes like, when I do videos when something new drops, I want to be able to do a review of it or whatnot, see if it's as trash as I assume it's going to be. Or, I had Disney Plus because despite the fact that I loathe Disney, I do sometimes just want to watch the Star Wars trilogy, the OG trilogy, not that sequel trash. Point is, Netflix isn't going anywhere, but they're also not wrong in their sentiment here. I can believe them when they say they've never canceled a successful show, because I can't see a lot of successful shows on Netflix. Name one that has had the cultural impact of Stranger Things. The only thing that I can think of is Daredevil, and that's been, gone the way of JFK for a long time now, and Disney's about to pick it up and butcher it. Give me something besides Stranger Things that's left some sort of cultural impact that's been a Netflix original, and maybe I'd be willing to agree with you about them never canceling a successful show. But until you can do that, nah, that's it. I'm out. With that being said, let me know in the comments below what you think, or you can find me on Twitter and let me know there by following me at BoltTheWord. And please subscribe to the channel, check out the back catalog. I got plenty more nerdy news videos on Magic the Gathering, Dungeons & Dragons, anime, movies, you name it. You can find it here in the Nerdosphere. So subscribe, and remember, this has been Words of Paradise.